Next speaking will be Gerald Martinez. Gerald is the Executive Council of the Mesa County Patriots. He is the manager at StarTech. He is a committee person on the Republican Party, and he's a Patriot. Let's give a hand of applause for Gerald Martinez.
Some people say they can't.
Beautiful crowd. Want to go over some facts?
Hey, Gerald, take the mic off and hold it.
I'm a little shorter. Going to go over a little bit of facts. Did you know that you are more likely to be struck with lightning than to be killed by a rifle? In 2009, the last year, which numbers have been reported, there were 13,636 murders. Rifles were only used for 348 of those murders. And the sum of all those rifles, only a few were assault rifles. In 2009, there were 9 states that did not have a single murder committed with any rifle. The fact is, gun ownership has skyrocketed in the last 4 years, while violent crime and murder in particular have continued a steady decline. The vast majority of crime happens in cities where people are less armed, yet where people are far more heavily armed, there's a far lower crime rate. England has a violent crime rate nearly 5 times that of the United States. That's 500% higher. Yes, they have a rate of gun violence that is lower, but all that indicates is that making weaponry illegal to law-abiding citizens is more dangerous to law-abiding citizens, not to the criminals. Demanding that law-abiding citizens relinquish their arms licenses criminals in their destruction by ensuring their victims are unable to stop them. Now look at the 250 million people that were murdered by their government in the 20th century. Now, what was a common thread amongst all these atrocities? From Stalin to Mao to Pol Pot to Hitler, all of them enacted disarmament or gun control prior to their genocides. Now, we do not know why the media continues to perpetrate their lies against law-abiding citizens. But what we must do is be vigilant against those that wish to restrict any innocent American's right to keep and bear arms. This means opposing all automatic weapon bans, and perhaps more importantly, bans against ammo. Anti-gun legislators will use incrementalism to step-by-step remove the ability for you to keep and bear arms. Now, what we want to do in the future is make sure that we contact our legislators, work with our local legislators, and make sure that they are supporting our right as an individual and as an innocent American to keep our arms. Now, we're going to have a lot of arguments against us. You all know how they argue against us. The most popular argument is against the Second Amendment is they want to protect the children. And they want to protect them with government regulations. Now, what we must recognize is that government regulations only apply to people who follow laws. Criminals do not follow gun laws. Many of the major recent attacks were in gun-free zones, and in states that already had existing bans against the weapons that were used. The only way that we are able to prevent these mass attacks is for good people to also be able to carry a weapon. When determining who has the moral ground in this argument, one must ask who commits the aggression. If an attacker uses aggression against someone else, then they should be captured, and the full force of the law should be used against them, or in the worst case, shot in self-defense. But if someone owns a gun and has not used aggression against someone, then they are innocent. If someone legislates, supports legislation, or enforces legislation that takes away an innocent person's individual right to own a gun, then they are now the aggressors, and these aggressors no longer have a moral ground to stand on. Thank you.
Make it louder.
Our next speaker is going to be Shane Fuchs. He is a 7-year U.S. Army infantry veteran.